Hey all, this Xenoxis. This is the Xenoxis show for the 4th of August 2025, and we're gonna be continuing on here. It doesn't matter which one I load here for these two. So yeah, so I've gone further ahead now. I've actually respected all every character now, from Monk into the more what I think is gonna be my quote-unquote end-game thing. So everyone is a Bushi now, and stuff that, which is of course nice for several reasons, and stuff that, yeah. Actually, let me get this magic lord here. Boom. Let's get magic lord here. Boom. I would really like want to get that of the spell breaker thing here. But they can get this. Fran can get, yeah, because the next one that we need to get is the one here, the 75 one, because you generally want the 51, you want the 75 one, and then you want the 100 one, which is located, that's the 125 one, where is the 100 one located again? The 100 one is actually, I think it's, no, it's not here. Wait. Yeah, the 101 is right here. The 101 is right there, and the 71 is right here. Yeah. So let me get that. So yeah, so you can see, for example, on the characters I have the Kogemaras on everyone, pretty much. And then we have Wizard Hat and Wizard Robes, and we have Orashi Amulet here. Now, technically, we have gotten one golden amulet so far, but yeah, so we need to get the golden amulet licensing. And yeah, which requires us to actually get this first, which is a bit bad because this is hard locked by basically, like, you have to get that one in order to reach this part here. So then you have to get accessories 3 here, for example, accessories 3, accessories 4, and accessories 5 and accessories 6. So you need to go down to that in order to get that. So yeah. One thing that is interesting though, if you look on the map here, for example, when I first was over on the other side here, although, why does that be a question mark just because I didn't go that way? I'm gonna have to do this connection here, even though I know where this supposed goes. Yeah, this goes here, yeah. You just have to go through the connection in order to connect them. So at first I went down there basically out to the connection, but here's the thing, right? When you get to this place, for example, like, even if you don't touch the save here, you still reset it once you go into a safe zone basically. And this guy talked about how there's one thing that they're scared of, the enemies here and stuff there. So yeah, so Ash is the main character pretty much. So yes, I'm not using one anymore about your friend. And I had to basically change the gambits also a bit and stuff that, so yeah, so I have it on 80% cure and stuff that, so yeah. And of course, when I respect, you know, of course, here's the thing, right? He will start with the thing that he will resurrect someone automatically, Vossler will start with and stuff that, so yeah. So yeah, we can theoretically kill these now because we don't have a combo going currently and stuff that, so yeah. And there were a lot of treasures that I just skipped because I would have needed to slay tomatoes and stuff that, and I didn't want to slay some tomatoes, of course, obviously, because I was having a really good combo going on and stuff that, so there's been a bunch of treasures that I haven't gotten in a lot of the places and stuff that. If we go back here to the place here, there's a lot of locations where there are like a bunch of tomatoes and stuff that, and they are really, really hard to get some of those treasures and stuff that, because you can see the area is absolutely massive and stuff that. Now, here's the thing also, I wanted to talk about the difficulty, right? Because the thing is that the original was a lot more difficult, but it was also some of the difficulty made it easy, because I'm gonna say this, right, that there are certain, I would say that there are default classes for certain races, and I definitely think, for example, that Shikari is meant to be Vaughn's base class, pretty much, and stuff that, and Archer is supposed to be Fran's base class. And then, for example, machinist would have to be Baltiers because that's the only thing that uses guns by default and stuff that. Boss would obviously be a knight, obviously, and stuff that because of swords and one-handed shield. Might say that Ash would also be a knight technically because Ash gets access to also a sword and like shield and stuff that, you know, as well. But she also gets access to healing magic, so you know that is something because yeah, all of the spellcasters right get like rods or staffs, right? Because you get stats here, yeah. So for break here gets access on hammers. They get access to. Because here's the thing, that in the original game, the different character had like different like starting locations, and these are the enemies that you quote unquote want to grind. I managed to get them over 100 combo before and stuff that, but then of course I entered a new area. I had to enter these areas here, for example, and you can see there's a middle thing that you get to here. You get to this safe zone here where that blue crystal is. But if you go back and you enter the south part, you get a safe area there. And the safe area is what resets the combo, so you cannot get the combo going on to the other screen, sadly, but yeah. Now yes, you can just run when you're encountering the tomatoes, or you can just very quickly go into gambits and just deactivate them that way. But you can also, for example, press X, and then you can deactivate gambits that way, and then you will only have the party members here. And that's the guest guy, right? Yeah. It's very important, but yeah. Because the thing is, right, that once your combo gets large enough, like there's a lot of loot that you get. Of course, you get a lot less loot, of course, like this is still not as profitable, for example, as killing the skeletons and stuff like that. But that was just because I kept stealing from the skeletons as well, you know, and stuff like that, so yeah. And there's probably a bunch of hunts we could do now that I'm not doing and stuff like that, so yeah. But also one reason that you want to kill these, I forgot if it needs to be stolen from them or if it's a very, very rare drop or whatever, because yeah, I believe there is a katana that they can actually drop and stuff that, you know. Of course, obviously the place that we're going to is the tomb place. Yeah, we're going to be about halfway across the sands. They keep heading west. You need to go to that one basically. But there is another place in. These two places in basically here, but I believe, I don't remember if it's connected to the cave area and stuff there, because there are some broken stuff, of course. A lot of people say, oh, you can use grind license points from a certain thing. Alright, let's have the map up. Oh, there's the tortoise thing that you can actually kill. That's a big boy. I don't think that makes them friendly just by killing this monster or whatever, right? Because yeah. It is release defeat because they almost defeat it for you basically. Because that counts as being a hunt, if I remember correctly. Very certain that counts as being a hunt. Here are Elite, yeah. Tangensa. Emeralden is what they're called. Ska jag parts then? 1,000 gil. Some stealing. 50 chain. So we need to go over here, yeah. We do. Unless we want to connect to that place. But I can get that another way also, right? Because this connects it down to that part, yeah, good. Hopefully we don't have to deal with multimate, but I kind of wish that you could hide the one in the blue corner, that could be hidden somehow. That specific one. That one could actually be hidden. So that instead. And just have this map up and stuff like that, because this map is way better to be using and stuff like that, yeah. And one thing that in the original, right, the elemental is actually aggroed right by default. I forgot if it had to do with what your level is comparison to them and stuff like that, because yeah. Because here the elemental is not aggressive and stuff like that, but yeah. Which is important, of course. Yeah. We are recording, of course, quite late today. Well, I mean, not super late or anything, but you know. And I've realized that I basically need to go to bed like late or like early morning or whatever, like maybe 3 in the morning, maybe 4 in the morning at most. Maybe sometimes even 2 in the morning and stuff like that, but yeah. And it's just because I use sleep way better if I do stuff that, and it just seems like I am like a night owl or whatever you want to call it, right? You know, because yeah. Because certain people can fall asleep like very easily, very early. And of course, if you want to adjust your sleep and get used, for example, going to bed early, then you cannot adjust by much. Like a lot of people will think that only you can just start going to bed like 4 hours earlier than normal or whatever. Like you can't do that. Like in order to actually adjust your body, you have to do it in increments of half an hour. But it also is different from person to person. Certain people can use adjust the sleep really easy. Certain people never have any problem sleeping whatsoever, you know. And stuff like that, but yeah. Anyway, the tomb place in the original game was pretty rough. Because there were 2 versions of the Demon Wall style enemy. I forgot if it's even called Demon Wall in this. Because basically you had like a tougher, like you had to escape from the first room where you encountered it. But then, for example, in once you get to the final room, the version that you face in the final room basically is the easier version. You might say, oh, but that also makes it so that he can push you into the spike thing or whatever the things that kills you. He will also cast Doom, I believe, on other characters and other like status ailments. So you need to basically have status ailments for that fight, or like status protections or whatever, right? That you want to have certain accessories in order to make things easier. We'll be going this way now also as well. So. Yeah, no, that's just an interesting character because she is meant to be like a princess. Whatever it goes, yeah. And 12 had so many interesting things about it. Just yes, the story was very adult story. Like a lot of people, like if they were too young when they played this, you know, they weren't gonna like understand a lot of stuff, you know. But in general, it also feels like, you know, like Final Fantasy 12, right, takes like place like a long time after Tactics and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know really how many of these cities that were in Tactics are actually in this and stuff like that. Like if there are any cities that you can recognize or whatever, because I know that the ones on Game Boy Advance takes place later. Because in one of the Game Boy Advance ones, I forgot if it was in the first Game Boy Advance one, I know Baltier is there. Although I forgot if it's Baltier even in the PSP version, of like the War of Lions version. Stuff like that, because yeah. I'm actually kind of looking forward to the whole, you know, pixel version or the whole, like the remaster or remake or whatever you want to call it of Final Fantasy Tactics. Even though it's not based on the War of Lions version, because the War of Lions version was technically an unofficial version. She's now level 20, that's good. Almost okay health. Generally speaking, right, once you reach certain points, you don't want to like spend your license points super often. Like sometimes it's better to use Horde bounce points before you spend it, but yeah. Yeah, we don't want to attack that, don't want to break the combo. Just run. Those are different, those are not Ustrix things. Bagoli, that's new. Can we please maybe get... Can he stop chasing us, please? Yeah, okay. How big is our combo, by the way? I mean, our combo isn't that huge yet, so we can just kill these. Because I want to make sure that, because we only had a 17 chain going on, that's not worth it. Though they are actually worth quite a bit of XP, actually. Okay, 84 on 1, okay. Because here's the thing, right? If you have the thing that doubles your license points, and that means every single one that gives you only 1 point will give you 2 points. Which is, by the way, a really big deal, especially if you got like a 90 chain or a 100 chain going on, and all of a sudden, instead of just receiving very little, you receive like way more. So that's it. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's actually run from these and try to kill these fish enemy style first. So let's go middle, that's nice. That's Penelope, the right level up. Is that Penelope? She's level 20 down. Oh, new type of cockatrice, silent miss. It's very crazy how 12, basically like 12 has a different graphical fidelity if you comparison to like how the characters look, comparison to like Final Fantasy X characters and stuff like that, because these are still very detailed, but I don't know if they're technically less polygons or whatever, because I really like the whole idea of how they made like they made souls absolutely massive, and I like the whole idea also that you made, yeah, and I can understand like some people don't like the whole absolutely massive areas, right? But then there were people, of course, that say that, oh, this is now an action RPG, this is not like turn-based or whatever. I mean, it's still theoretically turn-based because you're actually filling up the bar before you even attack and stuff like that, you know. And sadly, of course, that from this came like 13 and stuff like that, and I don't mind. I didn't mind 13's combat at all. It's not that 13's combat was pretty decent actually and stuff like that, but yeah. The main problem with 13 though is I felt like if you wanted to go for the platinum or get a lot of the trophies, then you had to use certain characters and build them a certain way in order to make things easier. But I would say if they ever do a remaster or a remake or whatever of 13 or whatever, then they need to make it so that there isn't a limit to how much you can grind. Right, and you might say that, oh, but then you would get too powerful for certain fights because the whole, oh, you have to do this specific strategy in order to get this specific summon to unlock or whatever, right? I felt like that was always like very stupid. It made no sense. Like it should just be like a regular boss fight, like, oh, you just fight Shiva or whatever, right? And then like unlock it, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm gonna see what this is. Is this the cave system or where does this take me? Is this the caves? These are caves. You can see that there's a lot of things. I didn't fully explore that area there. And I know that these can actually be defeated now, by the way. The frog enemies can be defeated now, actually. But I mean, you're not supposed to get this Esper yet, by the way, the Esper that's in this case, because this Esper is actually... Like, the thing that's been the problem with this Esper, if I remember correctly, is the fact that... that it has a lot of statuses on it. I forgot when the earliest is you can get it. And I know there is supposed to be like I forgot if it is the slime grind that you do, that you can do if these are the ones that you farm for license points. How much is that? There's still only one LP, so why do they call that a license points farm? Or am I misunderstanding it? So you receive 211 experience here. Which is decent. Okay, that's blocked off. Yeah, there's often like holes like that where... Is that... Yeah, that's a very, very bad guy. That's the like the guy that can KO us like very, very quickly. Okay, but it's blocked off, so there's no way we can get to that. Yeah. So those paths are blocked off. Yeah, because you can see a lot of them is Ryogi or Sansia, but I don't know when the thing deactivates in that cave so you can fully explore it more and stuff like that, because yeah. It's... Okay, so that's 100, as you said. It's actually good, because... Art accessories, 3... So let's try and get that. I cannot get that yet. Ash cannot get that yet because he needs 70. Options. And a way that I don't know if if it was true in the original as well, because if you're going on Traveler's Tip, for this, is it an armed self? Send weapon swords, one-handed swords, two-handed swords, spears, crossbow rods. Send weapon damage is mitigated by the target's defense. Piercing weapons scans measures, piercing weapons damage ignore the target's defense. Fast weapons, daggers, ninja, swords, bows. So daggers, ninja, swords, and bows. Fast weapons damage increase with character speed. Magic weapons, katanas, staves, maces. Magic weapon damage increase with the character's magic power. Striking weapons, axes, hammers, hand bombs. Striking weapons damage is erratic with some strikes doing little and some new great amounts of damage. Good weapons for those who feel lucky. And then magic resist weapons, poles. Magic resist weapons damage is mitigated by the target's magic resist. So yeah, so poles is of course the things for monks. So if they're using poles instead of using the other thing, but yeah. Basically, and I believe that this was how it was in the original as well. So that gives ninja swords bows. So that meant, for example, that meant that on one you wanted speed to get more damage. You wanted speed also on Fran to get more damage, as long as you were using any of those weapons. So yeah, so katana, staves, and maces also record magic power. Stuff that, so yeah. So they don't say that, so the standard weapons like the swords, the one-handed swords, two-handed swords, spears, crossbow rods, that was affected by strength. So what is strength used for them? Is that just shield block? Have we got, does it say about stats? Anywhere specifically, or stat not until later? Continue long clan Centurio. And in the original, right, you couldn't reset it, right, even when you had long clan Centurio, right? Like you couldn't reset the board. Right, but I believe also, like, for example, like so in the original game, the license board were basically one massive license board. Like the license boards were literally all connected, so the license board was basically as big as all the license boards combined in this. But that also meant that, for example, that there were ways that you would lock certain parts of the license board by getting certain licenses. Sometimes that were sometimes basically, and that of course made it so that unless I forgot if there were people that back in those days, if they did like planning sites where you could just put points in and just try and plan ahead and stuff that, because basically that's what you really wanted to do. You wanted to try and plan ahead if possible, basically, and stuff that, because yeah. I'm guessing right that exit there comes from the cave area and stuff that, that's the only way you can get inside that, is what I'm guessing. Yeah, let's not go towards this now here. But yeah, but normally in the other area it's way easier to just do a long combo with those things, but yeah. I want to always try and fully explore everything if possible and stuff that, because yeah. Because there are also one thing that's very important, for example, is so that yes, every character had their own like starting position. Like Boss, for example, he started in an area, for example. Like you had the whole essentials. There is something I believe that existed, but here's the thing, right? That, for example, if you go in on, for example, Shikari here, Shikari is not a thief class, because even though it looks like it has thief things to it and stuff that, you know. There are like, what are those, by the way? First aid is there, for example, Libra is there. But there is no steel, there is no like, oh, he is using steel or whatever, right? There is no, basically, there is no like, oh, boo, like, oh, Shikari is, you know, Shikari is the whole, you know. Because you can say that Shikari is basically the ninja class, because it's not the thief class. But I think, oh, but it is thieves. Except no, kinda not. So you might say, oh, because of daggers, that it's the thief class. But that just feels very odd to say, because of the fact that the steel is something that Baltier has. For example, like if you check here, for example, and you just go in on here, basically, and you move to the next page. So Van has steel, Baltier has steel, Fran has steel, and then no one else. It's a bit weird that Penelope cannot get steel, you know, so that's, yeah. But yeah, there is no specific license board that actually gives you steel, whatever, from my understanding, so there's only those characters that can actually steal and stuff, that's, yeah. However, if I remember correctly, like the really, really good steals are not until way, way later in the game, but there's also things that you can abuse. Stuff that. But isn't that, yeah, that's the Northern place there. So technically already been here before. Yeah, because there's no way to get into that section then. So can we... Bolt here should be able to get this now. So you can get that now. Pass can get this. Ash can get this. And Hello can get this. And one needs to get that. Accessories 4, accessories 5, and then accessories 6 to get access to golden amulet. And then 7, 8. And of course he has this magic lower. What else is it? Yeah, this serenity increase magic power and it's peaceful, that is very powerful as well, white wall. And then yeah, this battle lore also as well. I believe battle lore still actually affects your damage somewhat and stuff like that, right? Because you might wonder like, oh, why is there battle lore then on the tree? But that is, I feel like the battle lore is otherwise meant for basically like if you combine. So wait, do we go with the top part? Because we can either go the top part or we can go the lower part. So now let's take the top part. So when you want to grind something specific, one thing you can do is just loop around certain areas over and over and stuff there, because yeah. And the reason why they can drop katanas is, as you see, they are using katanas, block of different kinds and stuff there, because yeah. But I forgot what level I grinded to at this place generally and speaking and stuff that, so yeah. Like I definitely hope that it's not a steal, that it's just a very, very rare drop and stuff that, because yeah. And maybe I needed to get way over 100 to have gotten it, you know. But yeah, one thing that would have been cool, of course, could have been, for example, like let's say you got a long combo going. Once you got up to a certain amount of kills, I kind of wish that they made it so that other enemies quote became non-hostile, but that would of course make exploring certain areas too easy. Although I believe that there are certain spells that can help you, if I remember correctly. Hopefully there aren't tomatoes up here. Tomatoes. No. There's a treasure. The Phoenix Town. Isn't it called that because there are several then Phoenix Town? Okay, so you have 69 of those, 13 potions. We have a lot of these. A lot of the, yeah, that is, for example, that says deal heavy damage to one foe on the shock mode. You're seeking here, yeah, there's a treasure here. Yeah, the fact that treasures respawn and stuff like that, if you know, for example, that there are certain areas that can have certain treasures. For example, there is a place later on in the game where you can stop getting like the two-handed black swords, like the knight swords and stuff like that, because yeah. Now I don't know how good Masamune is in this. For example, if Masamune is the same as, or if there's only ever one like Masamune or whatever, right? Or if you can get several. It's good that we can get teleport stones to random drops. Treasure potion. Poison is not that great. It's a kill. But in the regional also, as I said, like yes, you start on different places on the board. For example, on the license board, you don't all start at the same location or whatever. Or maybe it is the same location, but it's slightly different on the board. Because obviously, right, that in the regional game, it's very easy to waste a bunch of license points. Because yeah, sure, you might say that, oh, I'm wasting here by allowing us to get Mystic Armor 4 here when we're still on Mystic Armor 3. But then that's the thing, that's why you don't want to spend for too long, because imagine, right, if you spent all of this. Of course, you get magic lore and stuff like that. But yeah, but I believe that weren't there like health stuff that on the original license boards as well, or were everything tied to equipment or whatever it was? I forgot exactly what the original boards look like. I'm talking about the original PS2 version of the game, because there were basically later releases that came out that wasn't the Zodiac Age, but that was still the PS2 version that still had job, and I believe it was the international version, which is odd because the PS2 version, or the PAL version rather, of Final Fantasy X, for example, were technically the international version because you had the Dark Aeons and stuff like that. Don't attack the fucking fish. You son of a diddlies. Balance. Tangents, I kill that. Hopefully. Gosh, she's almost dead. Don't run into mines, please. Get potion there. Actually, let's have her. And I'll be cured her as well. I kill myself and I'll cure again. That was a bit scary. Okay, now Gambit's wait. Okay, also then kill. Okay, we're looking at this now. Taking it is fast to get this 20 here and then this 35 there, but it's, you know. Sometimes you have to think about, okay, like how far are they going to the key? Because yeah, Golden Amulet being able to like double our thing is going to be very, very good. So immune to blind damage, half damage from that. Of course, my effective medicine is really good, half damage from like lots of elements, but yeah, double slice and return from the Golden Amulet. And then this is really good. Tourmaline Ring is both poisonous sap and half damage from ice. Now I wonder, let me actually check here something on Gambits here. Like, how many different foes are there here? Like lowest, blah blah blah, amount of stuff, their status. Here we go for undead, oh wow. Foe flying. Oh, that's really good because those are the ones that you definitely want to get like a lot more of because if for example like target any undead foe, for example, like that means for example when you were grinding the skeletons there, for example, like you could make it so that you would only target skeletons, for example, when you were in the mine. If you only had these, for example, then you could make sure that you only targeted undead. So I'm guessing, right, that there's going to be like other stuff here, like humanoid, or be another stuff as well. So yeah, because if you then can get like, you know, these are only like undead and flying, for example, but yeah, but if you could get more, like that, then that would be really, really good as well. So yeah. Oh yes, no healing so far. And stuff that, you know, unless you want to put like high potions there and stuff that, but then it's like very, very, you know. Because that can make you shoot through stuff unnecessarily, so I just flee here. Yeah, but I don't want to kill you roly balls. They don't chase for that long though. They shouldn't chase for that long. "31 chain, 32 chain, 33 chain." I think we came from there, yeah. So. Because yeah, it's of course obviously it's gonna be a big deal when we can, you know, right, and that connects. This doesn't trigger a boss fight. There is no boss fight here. I'm scared that it's gonna be one of those triggers a cutscene and then you just go through the plane into the next area automatically without a say. Oh, much traps. Okay, fleeing time. Still fleeing time. I guess this will lead to a dead end. Hopefully there aren't fucking tomatoes here. Okay, we haven't found anything yet though, no treasure yet. If there is no enemy here, then we might actually be able to loot this before they... Hello, Engrin. Brother Tippet. A chopper. What is this program? Chopper. So out of sort. Wow. That's a sword 4. That's a dagger 3. We're currently at only our second style of katana, and we're already at so how far into the 3 is that though? Let me check Night Out. Level 2, level 3. So it's after the Swill Blade and Ancient Sword that is buyable currently in the shops. There it is, Long Ingrin alongside Flame Tongue. And then 5 Demon Spend a Nice Bane, Platinum Sword, Bastard Sword, Diamond Sword, Rune Blade, Deathbringer Stone Blade, Durandal, Ashima, and then it's over to the Great Source, or the Great Source already start up here, Claymore. Out is there, which is a sword, I guess. Ragnarok is the great sword, Excalibur is there. Tornasol, Sodicus Cushion, right, and the Revive Excalibur and Belt. Blood Sword is here. So yeah. Okay, we can get that. Right, so we get all the chests there, that's good. We didn't need to lose our ids, as it were. Yeah, generally speaking, right, the reason why you would want to, like, for example, respec into knights, for example, is just that knights are very good when it comes to all tankiness and stuff like that, because of the whole shield and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that just, like, but because of the way that they made this easier, they made it so that basically you should be able to beat the game no matter what class you choose and stuff like that, but yeah, there's, of course, But I kind of wish that each character had their technically like a default class that were recommended for them. Whatever, right? Like, oh, that Valtier is a this class naturally and stuff like that, because that makes a lot more sense. I'll make sure that we get that so that they don't get an attack off. And this is going to be a dead end over here. There's a very, very large flying enemy here. Actually, let's just start beating these up, actually. Because there's a lot of these enemies here. Ether. Lambent, that is... I think that's the next tier. Okay, so why is that less? That's less health. Or that's less max MP, actually, that's what it is. But oh wow, it makes me faster. So that's Lambent. So wait, let me check, Lambent is here, right? Yeah. So Lambent is next. Yeah, Enchantress, Diabala, and then Feather Hat and Traveler's Vestment. Because it's always the left one first and then the right one. And then basically Lambent's Hat, Enchantress, Diabala, and then Feather Cap. And then we go into Mage's Hat, Mage's Habit, and then Lambent's Tiara and Soul's Habit. And it's also a hat, Sorcerer's Habit, and Black Cowl and Black Armor. But I feel like if you're Bushido right, like yes, you're a samurai class, which is a bit odd, right? Oh wow, that's quite a bit of gil. Get these. Let's just kill these then. Because we're at the very, very end here anyway. And there's no other entrance except that one. Unless we went back here, of course, and went to another cave system here. Because you have both of those. I forgot which is which, to the certain cave. Because we would want to go to that one, because that one I didn't explore a lot. I did explore that one to the maximum, I believe. Maybe the Vestasan thing works now. So let's kill all of these first before we attack the thing that breaks the chain. Yeah, so one thing you could otherwise do is just don't have any like attacking gambit on her, for example. On Ash, don't have or on your whatever, whoever your party leader is, don't have any luck there thing, and then use that party leader's targets, so that it's only something that's something that I attack with her, stuff that, you know, instead of having the thing with the attack there. So the one thing is, of course, that they are quote-unquote a bunny race there, what Fran is, of course. Okay, fine then. Kill the stupid competition. You guys killed them all when there was one down there. I like how they have completely like different styles with how they do things. I think that style works, that he is actually using Vossler and stuff that. Yeah. One thing is very interesting, of course, that if you think about used from a whole fantasy standpoint of certain things in this game, is this really going to be doable though? Or is that going to be a question mark enemies? Is this going to be like a super enemy? That's the same thinking. Oh, damn it. I missed. Shock note. Or at least I killed it. Okay. You know, I didn't realize that it would be that powerful, but still. Loot. So we got one of those. Whatever it was. Good thing. Okay. And you can technically get this. I'm gonna go for the cheaper option there so we can get to this faster. But theoretically, if you want to, it's actually better to go this way here with the 2020, so that, for example, like instead of going last and then down to that accessory, it's actually cheaper to go Gambit slot. Like Gambit slot is, although it's actually faster to do that and then go so like that. Because yeah, getting to the golden amulet is going to be a big deal. But that also allows us to almost get to the 75 pointer there. This is interesting because it feels like these are like armored versions of them, that there is someone that's actually armoring them and stuff that, you know, that they're not like that naturally and stuff that, you know. Right, so we're 21 on those. Right, I really would want to get the thing after we have sold thing. If I have enough cash that I'm gonna get it, I know that I can technically already afford it. Because there's a Forbidden Tome thing that you can get. I forgot about exactly what's in the Forbidden Tome. Like, imagine if it's like Ultima for China. They really respawn that quick here. So you can technically use farm these. Because they give you good... they give you very good XP. Things considered. I think that's actually something that also gets changed over time, by the way. So that's 10 rolls. Basically, once you reach a certain amount of kills, you basically start having the chance to get, like, quote-unquote, double loot, as it were. Just like that. Does the cockatrice respawn, though? Is the question. The cockatrice in Gridar respawn as well. 2 large feathers and a 10 pots, though. So I think that once you get over a certain chain, they can sometimes start having several loot. And then of course, that thing responds as well. So they are level 40 decay. Yeah, they don't allow you to farm too effectively, really, to be honest, though. Still. Can we just kill it with mist? Otherwise, I forgot exactly how the mist worked again. Mist, quickening, nurturing glow.
Must endure.
And then I'll be forced into intercession after this. But you actually do wanna...
I got it!
And boss ceiling goes into fulminating darkness. And you can make a massive combo here. And I don't know if overkilling gives you more certain materials or whatever it is. Because you can often get me, so this is how you can kill bosses even if your characters are very weak, if you just have enough of these. And then you can get a different finisher basically depending on what you combine with. Yeah, that was 170 XP and that gives you 2 license points actually. So that would actually give you 4 license points. You can see which ones have the charge or not there. As you can see, it's grayed out when they don't have the charge. And stuff like that. Because the mist stuff is always very, very powerful. Like, it's entirely possible to run into somewhere where you're technically not or supposed to be. And then you just kill stuff with mist. Because if I remember correctly, mist cannot miss. Like the different mist attacks. That's of course something that makes mist attacks very, very good. The fact that they cannot miss. Pretty certain they cannot miss. I might be wrong. Oh yeah, nice explosion time.